Hi everybody, welcome. On 24th of March, we've got a new moon in Aries at 4 degrees and 12 minutes. On the 21st of March, we have the equinox, the 0 degrees Aries point, which is like the beginning of the zodiac. So it's a really wonderful opportunity for a new beginning, a fresh start. Aries ruling the head, leading with your head, leading with being brave, with being courageous. When I think of Aries, I think of somebody who is a warrior, somebody who says, yes, I'm going to fight this, I'm going to come through it, I'm going to come through stronger than ever. So we're facing a lot of challenges right now in our world, and as a result, many of us personally are experiencing those difficulties and challenges. And that's certainly reflected in all these Capricorn planets. Mars, ruler of Aries, is in Capricorn. Saturn just gone into Aquarius on the 21st of March, where it's going to stay until the beginning of July. So we're getting a taster of Saturn in Aquarius. But Saturn is also the old ruler of Aquarius as well as Capricorn. So we've got a slight change here, but nonetheless Pluto, Jupiter also in Capricorn. So these guys are all together. It's a very strong energy of what is right, what is real, what is honest, what has integrity. At the same time, what is past its sale-by date? What needs to go? There are huge changes happening in structures around the world. Structures politically, educationally, health, financially, everything is up for huge change. And this Aries moon is a catalyst to really push that change along. Where do we need to go? It's an opportunity for some strong leadership. Are you willing to make your own decisions and stand by them? Eleanor Roosevelt famously said, "Do what you feel in your heart, because others are going to criticize you anyway, so you might as well do it." In my heart was to change my name recently. From Barbara, which means stranger, to Bracha, which means blessing. A completely different frequency. So what frequency do you want to resonate with now? When I think of Aries, I think of, who am I? Who are you? What are you about? What are the new things that you want to bring into your world with this Aries new moon? Where do you need to be just a little more courageous, a little braver? It's like trying a new food or something you've not tried before. Not sure about that. But try it anyway. See what it feels like. Aries is the fire energy. We need that fire with all this earth going on. We've got a lot of earth and water, Neptune still in Pisces. No air. So with no air, we're dealing with, and sometimes some of you may have no air in your chart. So what does that mean? Well, very often with no air in a chart, it can mean that somebody has communication challenges, or there is an overcompensation for that, and these are some of the best communicators because they realize it's something they need to develop. So with no air, what is our common language? I recently heard an interview with a Buddhist monk and a rabbi, and the common language, according to them, is silence. When we're quiet, when we're not arguing, and perhaps you can just hear the birdies singing now, and notice more things. And when we're silent with one another, we can connect with our humanity. It's only once we start talking and disagreeing and you did that and you should have that we get into all that past energy, the square to the node in Capricorn. The node in Capricorn can be quite harsh, go back to old behavior patterns of separation. And as we can see, with this coronavirus, there are no borders. It certainly doesn't respect whether it's in Italy or France or Germany or Iran. There's no respect for borders. So where do we need borders? And we must recognize that all borders actually are artificial simply because they can be changed. Look how many times the borders have changed from country to country. So which borders do we need to adapt and change? And maybe that's true for you in your personal life. And at the same time, with the node, the square to the node in Cancer, where do we need to come together and nurture one another? I recently read of a newish initiative in Israel by top Israeli doctors who are volunteering to offer a free service of counselling to people who are in isolation because of this coronavirus. It can be very frightening to be in isolation, no contact with friends or family or anybody. Scary. So how can we, to me that's a wonderful example of using this North Node in Cancer, of how can we nurture one another through these difficult times. Huge turbulence indicated in the economy, and at the same time, it's about re-evaluating now. Capricorn always encourages you to get back to basics. What's really important? And what's extraneous? What don't I need anymore? A lot of us carry around an awful lot of stuff, both physically and mentally, and emotionally and psychically. So what can you let go of? What can you release? Sadly, I had to recently release my course at the university learning Greek. There were big announcements, huge notices saying that anybody who's recently arrived from Italy, please do not come into the classes. And I went to my class and there was somebody new there. The teacher said, "Oh, hello, what's your name? Da, da, da. Where are you from? Apupuise." And he said, "Well, I arrived yesterday from Italy." And the teacher kind of went almost white. She said, did you not see the notices?" "Oh," he said, "I'm fine, nothing wrong with me. I got an aeroplane and the aeroplane was half empty." So at that, because I realised that older people are more vulnerable, and I have a friend who is older too and very, very vulnerable, and I don't really want to be a carrier for this if I can help it. So I made a decision, I'm not going back to the classes, and I'll start again in the fall or whenever, hopefully this comes under some kind of control or in a way where we can see what's happening. But with the Capricorn energy, I made a decision to play it safe. It's important to know where to take the risk with the Aries energy, where you need to be brave and say, I'm braving it out, or where you can make a sensible decision. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and say, hey, I don't need to put myself or others through this situation. These are all things to be thinking about. So it's a good time for action with the Aries energy, and it's a good time for ideas to become reality with all the Capricornian energy. It's important with Aries energy to look at ways that you can lead. Yes, but start to think at ways, how can I lead? How can I encourage other people? And I'm very fortunate. I go to Loutraki, which is where we get water directly from the mountains here in Greece. It's just gorgeous. So around once a month I go and I fill up with the water and bring it back to Athens with me. And I was really getting tired. It was heavy and it was hot that day, and I thought, okay, I saw these young lads, I thought, hey, and I asked one of them, I said, would you mind helping me? He was thrilled. I said, what's your name? He said, Dimitri. He came and he helped me and he filled the bottles and he carried them to the car. And of course I gave him some money and he was astonished. He said, are you sure? I said, of course I'm sure. I'm delighted you helped me. He said, I would have done it for nothing. I said, I know you would. And he turned around again and asked me, are you sure? I said, yes, take it, go, enjoy. So maybe it's time to ask somebody for help. A stranger maybe, who would be only too glad to help. Often it's easier to give than receive. Receiving puts you sometimes in a vulnerable position. Cancer being more vulnerable. These are just things that I like to share to try to bring these aspects alive for you, how they live in me before I get to share them with you. A lot of inspiration came for paintings. I meditate for a while about these moon energies. So here's one painting, which I hope you enjoy, and another one, all for this moon in Aries energy, and yet another one that matches nicely with your background for your astrology. So I hope you enjoyed that. I look forward to your comments. I look forward to hear the new things that you're doing, where you're going to be courageous. And I thank you very, very much for listening.